So we're back for part 2 and well, you obviously seen part 1. That is an exceedingly bad sign. That's pieces of piston or whatever it is. Now you can actually see what the crack is, what the issue is. So we've taken the sample for anyone who hasn't watched the first one. We've taken some of the auxiliaries off the top. We've got the tablet cover off and we've got the sample off here. Now this is time to see what the other issues are here. So let's have a look here. That is a piston. And there's the other part of the piston there, right? That should not be there. I got me a piston. Well, at least a part of it. Deary, deary me. Oh, yep, we're
Is there a hole?
There's a hole.
No!
We have a hole. Do you know what that means, guys?
What does that mean, Sean?
That means we need a whole new block. Have you seen the head?
No, I haven't.
You might not be able to see the camera, but you can come look up here.
Oh,
Oh, oh dear. That is a sparkler that came out, so it is kind of destroyed. So just to recap, we have exploded piston, conrods there, conrods damaged though, so the crankshaft's probably going to be either bent or damaged in some way, as well as there's a hole in the block, and the head has got a bit of damage on it as well. So hopefully the valve's on. For the ones who know, you have the small end bearings, which is obviously right at the top of the piston, you know, where the conrod goes in, and you have the big end bearings, and this big end bearing is on the crankshaft. So you can see that is obviously not great. Oh gee, for sure. See there? Doesn't even fit. Good thing I have a spare engine. That does help, doesn't it? But it means we've got to dismount everything. Everything has to come out here. The only thing that literally could be worse would be if we sent the piston through the bonnet. Because then we have to get a new bonnet. That's the only way it could get worse.
Or through the exhaust.
Oh, no, yeah, totally, yeah. There's literally nothing worse than this. This is like worst case scenario of worst case scenario.
We're gonna end this bit for today. We'll cut back to when we're gonna be doing more to the engine.
I'll give you the rundown. That is part of the piston. It is quite, well, it's multiple pieces. It's quite damaged. The block has a hole in it. The head's been damaged. It's like 20 past 1 in the morning. So we're gonna leave it for tonight. We'll come back and get the rest of it out.
Yeah, we'll come back to this. So we'll see you then. Bye.
The next day.
Welcome back to day 2. So what are we doing, Sean?
So what we're going to do today is we're going to further dismantle the engine, get that out, as well as the gearbox. So let's get going.
But we have got one major thing. We have a new engine. Well, new to us.
We have, no. We have an engine that doesn't have any holes in it.
All right, so what we're doing?
Well, we're going to take the block out, so we need to just drain all the water. So what I'm going to do is raise the car, get all the radiator fluid drained out, and then we don't have to worry too much about having water pouring on us when we take it out later.
Andrew's calling.
No one called me on me. No one called me. And this is why you should have your phone on mute.
You did that so awkwardly.
I did.
Anyway, back to the video.
Anyway.
So what's the plan of action?
Well, we're going to carry on dismantling the engine. We've got to get the exhaust manifold off, we've got to get the turbo off, we've got to get all these little pipes and vacuum pipes and cables and connections off. We've also got to get the intake manifold off. We've already got a lot of the pipes and electronics disconnected, ECUs off. So injectors need to come off, the intake manifold's got to come off, and then once we've got those off, we can loosen the head off, take the camshaft off, cam belt off, sorry, and that should be the head off. So I'm thinking, right, obviously we got to drop the engine and everything. Should we take the front end off, get that fixed, and then put in a custom air intake? Drop a comment And if you guys comment enough, we will do that. So, I have the bolts loose in the manifold, turbo is loose, and this should just jiggle off. And then it'll come out, it's just I'm just trying to... A moment for inner peace. Back to it. It's so easy, but when you just can't get it and you just stop for a minute, take a second and get back at it. I just see there is some damage on the turbo impellers here, so I'm concerned something may have gone through the turbo. This is not good news.
This video gets worse and worse.
Anyway, let's see how much we can get, how much worse we can get. Literally can't get any worse after this, mate. Right, this is all done about not even 500
New head
miles.
gaskets.
About 300 miles ago. Like, look at this. It's not even got any wear on it. It's not even got any like decoloration or like.
It's just got a bit of oil on it.
Yeah. 500 miles. 300 miles. Sorry, 300 miles. Turbo is off. We've got the exhaust manifold off. All the pipes and parts connecting to the exhaust. So if you look down here, you can see it's all clear now. Now we can do the exact same to this side here. So I've got the fuel line off, the return off, I have vacuum off, other vacuum there, all those there. I have this all loosened. All I need to do now is take out the final few bolts, and then I should be able to take the intake manifold off. Once I got the intake manifold off, it's time for the head gasket. So we have a look at the head. Alright, so there's loose. This is the intake manifold. For anyone who doesn't know, injectors, you got your butterfly valve, that's the bit that opens. I'm pouring petrol everywhere, as you can see. Yeah, so the only thing left on here now is pretty much the head, and then we just need to take the timing off. So I'm gonna use some wood, put the sun back on so I can lift it and get that one engine mount off. So you need to get that engine mount off to be able to get to the timing chain. So I need to lift it off, but I need to use the sump as a lift-in point. But don't do this, like it's just, if you're professional like me, you can. We have raised the engine up. We've taken the engine mounting off now. That's it there, to the side. You can see that's where it bolts in there. And you can see actually if you look down right here, it's actually about 25 mil, about an inch gap. So we've actually raised the engine. So it's no longer hanging on this engine mounting. This bracket here needs to come off. There's 3 bolts holding on. And that'll allow us access to the timing belt, which is here. Because all we need to do now is get the timing belts off, undo all these here bolts, and the head's off. Which is quite nice and easy, isn't it? So what I've done is I've got the final bolt out for the head. So the head's fully loosened. We've got the timing belt off. All we need to do now is just basically lift this head off.
Brilliant.
So let's get going. There's the head.
Easy as that.
Oh my goodness, look at this. There's pieces of piston, right? Look at this here. That's what it should look like. And you can see here, right? Look at this valve. This valve has been bent. It's got damage all over. You could look at the impact points. Means this head is damaged really badly. Valves are bent. Yeah. We can now find, yep, sleeves. Look at this. See that there?
That's scoring.
No, that's completely wrecked the sleeve. The sleeve should be very smooth, very smooth. So it seals nicely.
Yeah.
But you can see here, that sleeve is completely wrecked by that conrod.
Yeah.
There's pieces of metal in the other piston heads. On top of the piston here are pieces of metal. So that means that metal, whenever this piston exploded, went up into the turbo. Properly damaged engine. Now it's just time to finish it off, get the block out, and then we can start working on that block in the next video. We're going to completely refurbish it. We'll clean it up nicely, custom rebuild the engine with all the new parts in it, and then we'll get it back in the car and that's it. Alright, so what we're doing is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these pistons and conrods out, and we can have a look at the actual damage on the sleeve, because this is quite considerably damaged, so we're probably going to have to replace the sleeves or rebore it out to actually get it fixed. So let's get lifted up.
So, since we're going to be rebuilding this engine right here and putting it back into the car, what would you guys like to see with the engine that we're going to be doing? We can either rebuild this one and make it a 1000 horsepower monster, or we could make it into a coffee table. Just leave a comment down below and see what you guys would like, because I'm interested to see what we could do.
So basically what I was doing there was I was re-putting the engine mount on, so when we lift the car, the engine doesn't just slump down and put all the stress on the other engine mount and the gearbox. And now it's time to get the pistons out, conrods out, and we can see actually, because this is an engine we built with more performance, too much performance, but yeah, so we can see what we did.
Yo.
Anyway.
So after that small incident, what are you up to now, then?
So what I'm busy doing is I'm busy taking off the conrods and taking out the pistons, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because obviously a lot of them, like 3 of them are grand, there's no issues, so we can at least salvage those parts, and this entire engine is going to need to be stripped out anyway. So that's a bearing that runs on the crankshaft. This is the bottom of the conrod.
It's a lot thicker than what the other one was.
Yeah, it's not worn out. It's not been like completely destroyed. So I've pushed these pistons out. So you can see there's the piston with the rings. The rings haven't even got like worn. Look at that, they're brand new. I've just taken these metal shards off the piston here, which is obviously piston number 1. Now piston 2 is the one that had the meltdown. So that means that we've obviously got metal shards that have gone through the turbo. If you look here, you see this has got a dip in here. Standard VXR piston, for anyone who knows, has actually got, it actually steps up, where we custom machined these down to give us a 1.5 mil dip. So we have about 2 mils lower than a standard piston. Alright, so see that there, right? Where my finger is.
Yes.
That's an oil injector, so that sprays oil onto the bottom of the piston, right? So number 4 is grand. Number 3 looks good. Number 2 is, well, it's damaged. And surprisingly, number 1 as well. Even though number 1 piston never had any issues. So if you look at number 3 piston, right? What's this sleeve? It's smooth, there's no scoring or damage. But now if you look at number 2, yeah, look at there's actually physical indentation. Like you can see, it actually physically goes in. There's this literal a channel that's being dug out. If we want to keep this engine, what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to re-sleeve these pistons, right? Or re-sleeve these cylinders. I've got to fix the crack in the block, or the hole in the block, really. Completely clear out all these oil journals, because there will be tiny shards of metal. Now, I know you can't really see on the camera, but if I look down here, I can see tiny pieces of metal lying around. So that's a big job to do that. Big job.
Well, that's an end to part 2 of the Corsa rebuild. So what have we completed for this episode, Shaun?
So what we've done so far is we've taken the intake manifold off, we've taken the turbo and exhaust manifold off, we've also taken the head off as well, timing chain, and we have also taken the pistons and conrods out. So all we have to do now is crankshaft, the block, and the gearbox.
So be on the lookout for part 3. We'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.
10:30 p.m. shenanigans, guys.